Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Kal Halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles like Great Millstone, who rule well and teach well. Peace and salutation to the Lord's elect. The brother Yawasap here coming through with a quick hit through the spirit. Lord willing, I pray it's edifying and exhorting. This is going to be titled along the lines of "Don't let them get to you." You know, a lot of us deal with a lot of spirits, man. A lot of these people that are meant to be put here by Satan to ultimately throw us off on our walk, to distract us, to vex our spirit, whatever it may be. Family member, friend, co-worker, a woman. And we got to be cognizant and be very sober. You know, it leads me to this first precept. This is Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So don't be surprised if Satan puts a spirit on somebody that you're near and dear to in this carnal world, so to speak. You know, somebody that you might consider a family member, a friend, as I mentioned before, to try to just mess with you, man. You're trying to read the word, they call you on the phone all of a sudden. You're trying to get into your prayers, they start knocking on the door, or somebody outside starts making noises. And you got to be able to identify it, man, and not let it get to you. Sometimes it's hard. We got to do our best, man, to not let it get to us. And we do so by staying in the spirit and honestly exerting wisdom and knowing how to speak to people, man, and the tonality that we use. Because this is going to be very important, man. In the times that we're coming into, you're going to need to, be prepared, man, and not let certain things get to you. Okay, so this is 1 Peter 5:8. First Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. So, don't be ignorant to Satan's devices. He has all different types of ways and motives and methods and agendas and how he could distract you. One being the phone, another being, woman, or certain passions and fleshly passions that can get the best of you and can consume you. You got to be able to identify these things at hand, and most especially, he sends people. I myself included, have a lot of people around me, man, that constantly try to vex you to the point where it can get you very distracted, and you have to see it for what it is. And you could really deter certain situations by the way you deal with people, man, and how you respond, man. Are you gonna respond in the flesh? Are you gonna respond with the tonality that's gonna cause things to get worse and worse and more tension, or are you gonna respond in a calm manner to deter and deflect a shit show from rolling through, So it's the book of Proverbs 21:23. Whoso keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul from troubles. So you keep your mouth, you refrain yourself from saying certain things, man. You save you protect your soul, man. You protect it from troubles. Is it worth arguing with the woman? Okay, she wants to get her way. Are you gonna change her? Honestly, whether it be your woman, man, or your mother or your grandmother, is it worth arguing with them? Are they really gonna sincerely change? Probably not. So you just save yourself from that unnecessary, vexation. Proverbs 12:18. There is that speaketh like the piercings of a sword, but the tongue of the wise is health. So those people, man, that every time they speak, it's almost like they're trying to start some shit with you. Every word that comes out of their mouth, they're speaking in a way that is about to just start something, man. And we all know somebody like that they just shit stirrers, their spirit is operating in that sort of mode, man. It's not healthy.
You want to stay away from these people. And if you do have to deal with them for whatever reason, you're at work and you got a boss like that, or some Keisha manager, sometimes you see it for what it is. Take a step back and think, am I going to respond in the spirit, or am I going to respond in the flesh? Because responding in the flesh ain't going to get me nowhere. And there's a soft... Yeah, this is what it leads me to this precept in Proverbs 15:1. Very important to go back to the Proverbs, Akim Akwath. Proverbs and Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, because this teaches you morals. This teaches you how to operate, especially in this world. These were. It's like a handbook, that the Israelites, man, our people need to know, man, because most of these 2/3, man, you got these Keishas, Big Shirleys, Pookie and Ray Ray. They ain't speaking according to the book of Proverbs and Sirach. They ain't following that. They just acting all bugged out, man, like degenerates. And ultimately, their mouth and the way they speak to people and the way they just get heated up over nothing is what's going to get them, killed or in some sort of, judgment. So Proverbs 15:1, a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. So, if somebody's saying something to you, man, you can't let it get the best of you, man. Don't let that sit and marinate. If they have some stupid comment to make about how you look or the way you present yourself, sometimes they might be doing it out of love and it might come off the wrong way. But if it, gets you a certain type of way, let's just say they call you fat or something, you got to see it for what it is. And if it really bothers you, do something about it. Do something about it. And if it's something that you can't control, maybe it's appearances or whatever it may be, if it's something that you can't control in that moment or at all, it's out of your control, accept it as what the Lord is. The Lord's caused you to be that way, and you're not going to let these doubt demons seep in. Because, this is what people are there. They're there to try to provoke you in the spirit, man, any way possible, man. Satan's always trying to find different angles and loopholes. You got to put your armor on, But grievous words stir up anger, so, you respond back in a way, you clap back. Sometimes it's not always good, man, because it'll stir up anger and tension. Just let these people win their carnal battles. If they want to make a stupid comment under their breath, look at them and say, all right, okay, are you done yet? Things like this. Sometimes a soft answer. Even myself, man, seeing how you can practice that with certain individuals that you're with on a day-to-day basis, just responding in a certain tone, man. Just knowing how to just distract them and turn away from a situation that could blow up out of proportion over nothing. You really start to see it, man. How you initially respond to somebody in that moment. The tongue of the wise uses knowledge all right, but the mouth of the fools poureth out foolishness. So if you're constantly talking, if you're constantly having to air out your opinion to people that do not understand what you're in, the ministry that we're in, the truth, then you're just gonna have responses from fools. They're not gonna understand it. That's one thing. But also, just no one gonna just keep your mouth shut and just not sharing your business with anybody. A fool is somebody who's always talking nonstop. He's not even thinking about what he says. He just talks. Whatever comes out of his mouth comes out. Not a good thing, man, because there's a lot of evil people, man, that are trying to use certain things against you. They might hear something that they could say, oh, you know what? How can I get him in trouble for this now that he said that? Even if it's something so small, man. Really, you got to think about this, man. We're not battling against just flesh and blood, man. We're battling against spirits. And these spirits, man, know how to operate through people. Especially when they're not following the Lord, man. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. They open themselves up to all sorts of legions and spirits and strongholds. So you got to be wise, man. The tongue of the wise useth knowledge all right. You're able to use the knowledge that you've obtained through the scriptures to go about this day-to-day world, man. You're wise as a serpent, okay? Harmless as a dove. Leads me to this scripture, man. Sometimes I type fast, so it's a little bit... It's coming up anyways. So it's the book of Matthew 10:16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents, harmless as doves. And those are words from Yahweh Shai himself. The only begotten son. When he was in the flesh and he said those words, man, he said them with true meaning, man. Be wise as a serpent. He's telling us we got to be wise. And that comes with being in the spirit, man. That comes with using our, watching what we say, our words, not letting people get the best of us, because that ultimately keeps us in safety, man. When we're able to use our mouth correctly, when we're able to be wise, execute wisdom through the spirit, we stay away from situations that can get ugly real quick. Be harmless, man. Don't let these people win. Don't. You don't always got to win these carnal battles. Let these people win. All right, they want to get in front of you and they want to cut in front of you with the car. Let them do it, man. If it means that you're gonna get into an accident, if you want to get in this battle with some random ass person, is it even worth it? Things like this, man. It's just so many other examples. You can go on and on. But just use what I'm saying right now and apply it to what you go through on a day-to-day basis. Okay? And remember what I'm saying, man. What the scriptures say, ultimately. What Yahushua said. And it says even here, Proverbs 17:28, even a fool when he holdeth his peace is counted wise, and he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. So if you're walking around, man, in front of people that you don't really know, sometimes it's better not to talk and overshare. You're trying to screen somebody. Does it say prove a friend first and be not hasty to credit him? So prove him first. You don't always got to be going around and telling him everything about yourself, who your family is, what you do, where you're from. You don't know this guy. We're going into Jacob's trouble right now, all right? No, it's not the icebreakers where we're sitting down at a kumbaya in a circle and we're telling everybody our life story, all right? You don't know what demons these people are. You don't know they could snitch on you. You don't know they're envious of you. You don't know what these people are about. All right? So keep your mouth shut, man, when it comes to dealing with certain people that you don't know. All right? And even with people that you do know. All right? If you know they got certain spirits on them that they're not fixing, nor they care to fix, okay? Because they're just not, in the vibration that the Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, they're not in that same vibration. Don't share everything with them. You don't got to share the truth with them. If they don't understand it, that's it. Leave them alone. All right? Just know when to speak. Know when to speak. And Titus 3:10, speaking about that, you might got a person that you do tell at one point, with family members and friends, and they might not believe what you believe in, and they might be very adamant about that and show you that they don't, and try to vex you through that now that you said something. So don't keep debating with them. There'll be a time and a place where the Lord wants them to know. He'll let them know. They'll repent, and they might come to the Lord at the very end through you. All right, and just lead by example. You don't always have to be debating with them and trying to prove things with them. We all got somebody like that. In the beginning, we're zealous. We want to tell our family members, people around us about this truth, thinking that they're going to hearken, but it's not usually the case. Titus 3:10. A man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition reject, knowing that he is such subverted and sinneth, being condemned of himself. So you got to let these people go into their folly, man. You can't help everybody. Work out your own salvation in fear and trembling. Okay, and focus on the brethren that are warring with you in unity. The same doctrine. If you tell somebody, and this could even go for an individual that is an Israelite, but they're following a camp that's bugged out, they're following a false doctrine or congregation. If you tell them and they don't want to take heed to the proper doctrine and order, then don't have anything to do with them, man. Not all Israel will be Israel, and sometimes, let the dead bury the dead. It's a family member or some wicked cousin of yours, let the dead bury the dead, man. We're not here to save everybody, man. It's ultimately up to the Lord. Okay, we just have to prepare our mind and our spirit to be able to, be fully equipped to withstand everything that's going to come, man, in Jacob's trouble. You gotta have preparation. Ultimately, you gotta put on your armor. Ephesians 5:11, and have no fellowship with unfruitful works, but rather reprove them. For it is a shame to speak of those things which are done in secret. But all things that are reproved and are made manifest by light, so whatsoever thou doest is made manifest in light. So, if you do see an individual, let me track back to what I said. You can tell somebody once and twice, and if they don't take heed, then reject them. But if it's somebody in Israel, man, that's going off and leading flock astray, you should speak up at the same time, man. You definitely should speak up and let that be known, man. We're supposed to rebuke things that are out of order, especially if it means that it's going to lead the flock of Israel astray. Because a lot of younger brothers, sisters, younger brother, including myself, in this truth, I recently came into it, and seeing how many bugged out doctrines there are, how many crafty wolves there are, man, in sheep's clothing. If you see that something's out of order, man, you can sense somebody being a phony, man, through the spirit. You got to call them out for that, man. You got to let other people know so that they don't fall into that same pit. So let me just make that clear right there. Okay, but going back, I want to highlight Ephesians 6 and 12, because you really want to make sure that you have your armor. And actually, before I do that, walk in the spirit. And you're going to be able to, you're going to be able to deter these people and not let it get to you when you're ultimately walking in the spirit, man, because you're confident, and that's only through the Lord. And it says, Galatians 5:16, this I say, walk in the spirit, and ye not shall fulfill the lust of the flesh. So you to walk in the spirit. Walk in the spirit, you know what that entails. Praying, don't quench the spirit, as Thessalonians 5:17 says, and pray without ceasing. Thessalonians 5:19. Okay? So you want to do these things because it keeps you sharp, it keeps you on point, man. You're meditating on the word of the Lord, man. You're letting it soak in. And that keeps you in the spirit. You want to have that diligence, and diligence is by making a routine, man, setting firm boundaries on when you're going to spend that time with the Lord throughout the day, because we got to go work, we got to handle things in this carnal world, but we got to make time for the Lord, because that right there is going to keep us prepared, it's going to keep us on point, it's going to keep us sober, it's going to keep us vigilant, and it's going to keep the armor on, okay, so that there's no cracks in it, because you don't want to be walking around with your armor completely out of place. You're not having it firm, on tight. When you see a soldier going into battle, man, he don't have his armor, his vest on the right way. It's all sloppy. What's going to happen? If somebody shoots him, he might get hurt. He might get seriously injured. So it's the same thing when we're walking in the spirit. We got to make sure that we prep our mind, set our mind on that right fine vibration and tune, so that we're in the spirit all throughout the day. Because each day carries its own problems, man. Okay, each day is its own war. Okay, there's so many things coming at us from day to day. So you got to make sure you have that armor on, man, that you're in the spirit. And it leads me to the book of Ephesians 6 and chapter 6. Let's just read the whole book of Ephesians chapter 6. Let me go to that 6:12. Okay, the armor of Yahweh. Finally, this is Ephesians 6:10. And I'm going to read on. Finally, be strong in the Lord and his mighty power. Okay. So you trust in the Lord's power, man, and what he has. Everything that he has, you trust in it, man. It says, put on the full armor of Yahweh so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, the authorities, against the powers in this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on your full armor of Yahweh, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you've done everything to stand firm with the belt of truth buckled around your waist and the breastplate of righteousness in place. So you're righteous. Okay, you have the truth, man, this living word that's alive and active, sharper than any two-edged sword. Hebrews 4:12, around your waist, man. So whenever happens, you pull out those scriptures and you apply them to whatever you're going through. Whether it be for comfort, whether it be for wisdom, okay, whether it be for protection, you apply these scriptures, man. That's the truth around your waist, that buckle, all right? With the breastplate of righteousness in your place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all of this, take up the shield of faith, which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take on the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahweh. So you have your helmet, man, of salvation. Okay, knowing that the promises of heaven are at hand, man. They're going to come soon, man, if we endure. All right, your shield of faith. Hebrews 11:1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So we always have to use faith, man, and increase that faith muscle, because anything that comes our way, any of those arrows that come our way, When we face persecution, when we face temptation, we lean on faith to get us through, man. Okay, that's what deflects these arrows, man, that are coming our way, man. Faith. Okay, faith and belief in the names of the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, He that exists, and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, He that delivers, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And if you're using that name, Jesus Christ, and you're watching this video right now, do not use that name, man. His true name is Yahweh Shai. The whole world uses that name because they're deceived, okay? And they've been manipulated. But the true name is Yahweh Shai, all right? Remember that. For those of you that don't know, because there's a lot of new, individuals that are watching, okay? And your feet is fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. So you have peace, man, okay, and comfort in this gospel. And you have your feet planted. You firmly believe in this, man. All right, you're not going and believing in these other doctrines and false deities and idols like the rest of the world, man. No. You're getting your nutrients, man, from this living water, which is the word, man. Okay? And that can only get better and stronger through repetition. If you're if you're preparing for a fight, if you're preparing for a marathon, which we're in right now, man, we're in a fight every day, and we're trying to run this marathon. This isn't a sprint. You got to prepare accordingly. You can't just go and run a 5K with no training at all. You got to build up to it. You got to first start off doing a mile, then 2 miles, then 3 miles. And sometimes it hurts. Sometimes that pressure's on you, man. But you got to endure hardness like a good soldier of Hamashiach. As the scriptures say, I believe in the book of 2 Timothy. So it says, pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. That goes back to Thessalonians, man. Pray without ceasing. Don't hold back from praying to the Heavenly Father. Cast all your anxieties onto Him, for He cares. Okay? He cares about what you're going through. He wants to hear it. Whatever you're going through, man, bring it to the Lord. All right? It's between you and Him. Don't be going and telling your mother, all right, or your father or everybody. Sometimes they don't understand, man. The Lord's the one who can understand. He knows our most inward thoughts. He's formed us in the womb, man. Okay? In darkness. When nobody else knew who we were, He knew who we were. Way before, man. Way before our parents were even born. So cast your anxieties onto Him, man. Pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert and always keep praying for all of the Lord's people. Pray also for me that whenever I speak, words may be given to me so that I will fearlessly make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains. Pray that I may declare it fearlessly as I should. So, you're speaking, you're not holding back, you're not trimming your ways from man, all right? You're not beating around the bush. You're speaking on business, man, okay? Which is these words, man, the full truth and sincerity of these words. All right. Esau's going to go into captivity. That's it. It is what it is. They're going to go into captivity, man. And these other heathen nations, we're not going to beat around the bush to make them feel good about themselves when they did all these heinous things to our people year after year after year. Okay. We stand firmly, man, and we declare this gospel fearlessly. Okay. We're not going to hold back on the mark of the beast and what it entails of being the RFID microchip. All right, we're going to tell people about it, man. We're going to declare this gospel so that the whole world, our people scattered across the 4 corners of this world, if they want to hearken and listen and the Lord's dealing with them, they can adequately prepare for the times to come, man. We're supposed to be fearless, man. We're soldiers, okay? Is a good soldier somebody that's in fear all the time and it's cower? No, man, fearless, man, because we have faith and trust in the Lord that He's going to protect us, all right? So, ultimately, man, you got to use this armor. You got to use His armor. You got to pray in the Spirit all the time. You got to pray. You got to meditate on this word. And do your best to, attune into that vibration so that when these people around you, man, are starting to bother you and vex your spirit, you see it for what it is and you keep pushing, man. Because we're on a mission right now. Leads me to this last precept that I want to close out. Book of 2 Timothy 2 and 4, no man warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of life, that he may please Him that has chosen him to be a soldier. So the Lord, man, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, gave you the spark, man. He brought you to the light. He took you out of the darkness and brought you to the light from the folly that you were living in this past life. And he chose you to be a soldier, man. He chose you to go out, give your body as a living sacrifice, which is your reasonable service, man. Do the work in diligence and sincerity and charity, okay? Okay, he chose you to be a soldier, man. And he's giving you brethren around you, beloved brethren, to help you in this walk, okay? Don't get yourself meddled in all these matters, man. Don't be a busybody. Don't be going around and arguing over nonsense with people in these carnal thoughts, man. See it for what it is, okay? Push it to the side the best that you can, okay? Because I know some days are better than others. Some days we're in the spirit a little bit more than others, but do the best that you can, man. Listen to what I'm saying and pray to the Lord that he gives you the spirit every day and that he attunes your vibration, man, to the spirit of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. Okay, because you're a soldier, man. Don't be bothered with all this other stuff that doesn't matter at the end of the day. All right? So Lord willing, I pray that you found this short lesson edifying and exhorting to the Spirit. I want to give all glory, honor, and praise to the Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem Rakakadash, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Kal Halal Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule well and teach well in sincerity and charity. Peace and salutation to the Lord's elect. This is the brother Yahweh Sop, and to you,